Hello, my name is Michael Duniec. I'm the CEO of Analyze Online, and my special guest today came to us from Hungary. He is responsible for business of Fidelity in Central Eastern European. And what's the most amazing about our today talk is that Istvan will describe us the market. So let me introduce Istvan and please explain to me, because you've got a wide view, what's the difference between Polish market and other markets in our region, how people invest, what differs us, where people put their savings, and how you would recommend to switch possible approach of our investors?
That's a very detailed question. So, first of all, thanks for being here. I mean, it's a privilege. So, what we can see across the region is different type of investment behaviors. However, over the last 12 months, we have seen fixed income to be part of the discussion more and more. So, for instance, in countries like Czech Republic or Hungary, where fixed income investments had a lower volume or less share, we already see it to be a major discussion now. So, for instance, I mean, you know, in the Polish fund market industry, we see the statistics, it's around 50% the fixed income and cash products overall. In the other markets, this used to be like 35%.
Well, that's much more or less.
It's much more or less. However, because you know interest rates are increasing, so definitely it's not just a CEE-specific phenomenon, but obviously a global one. So everywhere around the world, fixed income is getting more and more in focus. In CEE, for instance, in Czech Republic, it's now close to 40% compared to last year, like 35%.
So
in
it's
Hungary,
increasing.
it's increasing. In Hungary as well, when we look at the fund industry itself, also it's close to 40 as well, 39 actually, and it was around 30 last year, so a year ago.
So what's the rest of the portfolio? If there is around 30-40% of fixed income, what's the rest? In Poland, rest is mixed, and just small part are equities. There is small part of alternatives.
Yeah.
And what about other countries in the region?
Yeah, so we exclude usually the non-listed funds, actually, or non-listed vehicle funds. So what we see is multi-asset is around 20% in Poland and approximately the same in Hungary. A little bit more in Czech Republic, interestingly, so close to 30%, and that is changing rapidly. So, for instance, in Czech Republic and Hungary as well, because higher rates than a year ago, much higher rates than a year ago, multi-asset and also equities are losing traction. So they're losing a little bit of focus. If I look at the Polish market, that's also it's still around 20%. So even though there was a growth in the market, multi-assets remained around 20. That's what we can see. A huge difference is on absolute return. Absolute return in Poland is around 3% as we see it. In Hungary, it's still 10%. It used to be 33. So 1/3 of the whole market, like 5 years ago, it was in absolute return products. There were some huge blockbuster funds out there, and it was very much in the spotlight. With regards to Czech Republic, however, it's almost a non-existent category. So we don't see the statistics about absolute return. So that's a major difference.
Absolute return in Hungary is provided by domestic, by local TFIs.
Yes, so
okay,
this is the local market, exactly.
Okay. We used to have the same like 10 years ago. I mean, the role of absolute return was bigger than right now. But I think, watching for numbers, that the role of absolute return as an alternative investment is increasing. Okay, so let's go to fixed income for a while. Can you tell me what specifically they invest as a fixed income? It's a local or global fixed income? In Poland, for example, it's almost only domestic, local fixed income. And what about other countries?
Well, I would a little bit add on to this. So we see a lot of local fund managers also using our capabilities in the US and also on the high yield side. So we saw over the last 12 months inflows on that. So previous 12 months was not really a great year, but now it came back and more. So now that many of the local fund managers, also fund sellers, are expecting dollar rates to come down over the next, let's say, 3 years, they actually invested a lot in the US Treasury and US corporate type of exposures. In the other countries, we also see that it's a home bias overall, but you know, it's everywhere you go around the world. That's the same. It's our job to diversify out the client assets, and that's what we do on a regular basis. So we communicate about how you can also diversify also the fixed income part. And in Czech Republic, for instance, we have a huge global high yield exposure, and it has been working quite well. And also on the investment grade, the market is really responsive, and it's interesting to see share classes or products being hedged to the local currency. So we are actually giving a global or any kind of developed market fixed income exposure in with a local currency. So that's typical in Czech Republic and Poland. In Hungary, there's also the optionality for that. So we have both hedged, both non-hedged products. But in Hungary, it's a much more different market, and fixed income plays much less of a role. However, having said that, the current double-digit interest rates in the country, in Hungary, so it has attracted a lot of assets in the local
to compete.
Yeah, in the local government bond space, inflation linkers, etc. Also nominal bonds, and a lot of exposure went to the short-term bonds and also the cash funds. So there is very difficult to compete.
So the biggest markets for you is Poland, is Czech, is Hungary. Are you active in smaller markets as Romania, Bulgaria, maybe Pre-Baltica? Is that are the places that you are also present with your funds or not?
So we currently are registered in 6 countries. So you mentioned the biggest focuses. So Czech Republic, Poland, and Hungary, obviously, and then we have the smaller markets. In Croatia, we are registered. Romania and Slovakia, we are registered too. So definitely, we are looking at these 6 markets at the moment. Are we active in the other countries on an ad hoc basis, on a time-to-time basis? Yes.
Okay, Istvan, from your perspective as a global player, what's the role of global player on a local market as ours, and how you compete with domestic fund houses, and where? The most important, how and where you compete, because offering sometimes covers the same areas, sometimes it's totally different.
Yeah, so I get that question a lot, to be honest. So in other countries, they think of us as being, very much competitors of local fund managers, but also the locals understand that our exposure is completely different to theirs. So local fund managers tend to focus on CEE exposures, whether it's local bonds or CEE equities, is definitely their expertise. What they do on top of that is go international, and with top-down allocations usually, they invest internationally. And if they want to have some bottom-up research-driven active funds, then they come to us, and that's where we can help them. So on one end, for retail money, for instance, we are competitors. However, when we look at how we can actually complement their expertise with international bottom-up stock selection knowledge, that's where they are clients of ours. We have a lot of local asset managers being our clients.
When you are looking for the whole landscape as an international player, how you see the role of ETFs, and why your idea is not to deliver ETFs in Poland yet, And do you think that the role of ETFs will push mutual funds far from the clients? What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, I would argue we don't offer ETFs. So we have some ETFs already registered in Poland. Also the company, so Fidelity is launching every year 10, 15 ETFs. You know, that's an okay number. I'm not saying we are, you know, in terms of quantity, it's a lot. I'm saying it's a good start. So we have a couple of franchises already, so like income or any kind of research enhanced. Also, we launched thematic ETFs lately, and more and more fixed income ETFs are coming along from our factory, basically. So we definitely focus on it. It's part of an addition to our active capabilities. It's going to be, I think, a good addition, and we have a lot of clients who are seeking ETFs, obviously, and now we have something to talk about, and more of these ETFs get 3-year track record, sufficient size, and that's where those will be investable. And we already have, in the CEE region, we already have in the past 12 months sold approximately 50 million of ETFs, so in dollar terms. So I wouldn't say we are, you know, losing this space. I'm just saying we are building it out now.
Okay, what are you expecting from Polish market for next 3 up to 5 years as a global player? You think that Polish market will increase the role of foreign assets, or the role will stand still, won't change a lot?
Yeah, firstly, let me reiterate what usually we discuss about. So Poland is definitely one of our core markets in CEE. Obviously, it's not just the biggest in terms of population, but if we look at the long-term potential compared to Czech Republic or Hungary as well, Poland has a very special situation. So if I look at, you know, per capita basis, how big the investment industry is, or how much funds are actually out there, it's around $2,000 per capita is in funds, whereas in Czech Republic it's much more than that. It's more 3,500, whereas in Hungary it's 3.1, 3.2 thousand. So overall it's like, you know, 60 to it's about, you know, 60 to 100 person more. So obviously there's room to improve in terms of fund penetration. So definitely Poland remains one of our key focuses. And what we can do actually, in the local market is to, you know, hand in hand with the local players actually, because actually we are striving for the very same ultimate goal, which is bringing a more educated industry, financial industry and investment industry to the local population. And if we can get that, you know, small penetration investments higher, then also the local players and also the international players will be better off, much better off.
Okay. Istvan, thank you very much for joining our event, Fund Forum in Warsaw. You are our main partner. Thank you for that. My guest was Istvan Al-Hilal, head of CEE at Fidelity International.
Thank you very much.